Well, here we are, recording live from my wonderful kitchen, from me to you, about what it's like to live in a wheelchair. The following blog is a few of the details of what it's been like to live using a wheelchair. I am doing this, reading this to bring life to the words other than just a simple text to you. I hope this helps in some way, and in terms of adjusting to getting used to living in a wheelchair. And yeah, I've got my contact information on there. If somebody wants to ask a question or suggest a topic, I am up for it. Hope you enjoy the following. I have to use a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So now what? I asked myself that question about 6 weeks after my motorcycle accident. My accident happened on Mother's Day, May 10th, 1980. I can tell you my mom was not impressed, but she made sure I got going again. In the 30 or so seconds of my accident, I acquired a spinal cord injury. I broke my neck. And I've been getting used to it ever since, being paralyzed from the armpits down. Yeah, that's about 33 and a half years, but I'm still going. First 3 weeks after the accident were spent in semi-intensive care. I slowly woke up from a concussion, vaguely knowing I was paralyzed. But I've often thought of my slowly coming back to consciousness as a blessing. A blessing because I was spared, unlike many others, the shock of realizing there would be bad consequences of such an accident. Knowing there would be bad consequences, not knowing what they were, and having no idea of any of the positives to balance the equation. As it worked out for me, I awoke feeling that, to some degree, I was ready to get on with things. Back then, while still in the hospital for that 3 months, I asked everyone, doctors, nurses, orderlies, OTs, PTs, social workers, and anyone else I thought might have an answer for me to the biggest question on my mind. But no one could really tell me. I wanted to know, as much as possible, what I was getting into. Back then, there was nothing to read and no one to tell me. As if to make things worse, it was like everyone was afraid to tell me something that would hurt me or set me off. Not what I needed, but more on that later. Since what I needed most to help me deal with that particular situation in my life wasn't available, I made a promise, actually more like a vow. My vow was to learn all I could about what I was getting into, and then at some point in my life, I would write down what I learned so others wouldn't have to completely reinvent the dealing with paralysis wheel. There are a lot of materials available now. That's a good thing. But it's better to have more interesting perspectives and their biases than it is to have just one or two. However, to fulfill my vow, I have always kept it in mind that someday, once I'd learned enough about how to deal with things, I would write it down. Who knows what is enough for me to learn about what life shows me? Where do I stop? When do I start writing? When do I give this for other people to think about? Well, I've decided I better get on with it. The multimedia options that are available now to make it, I hope, easier for others to learn from my stories. This blog is a 54-year-old making good on the promise to self of a 20-year-old. I really do hope my stories help you in some way.